This time on Woody's Garage. We are still working on the Broncco. Hurry up, I want to go for a ride.
Alright, a little update on the Broncco. I got some parts today. They were anticipated, so before that I painted up the jack shaft and cleaned it up a little bit, just painted it black. I got the 3/4 shaft today. I got the bearings I needed today. They have the split ring. I had to take the ring out of the old bearings, which are right here. They had the snap ring in them. They were the same size but different size shaft. And then I got a couple of collars here that are just holding everything in at present. Got a 14 tooth sprocket. I got no keyway in there now and it's not screwed in. But we're just getting the alignment. I can move back and forth like this for now to see. I might have to flip it the other way. I'm not quite sure yet. The only thing I didn't get was the shaft sleeve. That'll take it from 3/4 up to 1 inch for the other sprocket. It's just I don't have enough money for one this month, so we'll have to do it next month, I guess. But to get this guy on, that's the only thing left to have an entire drivetrain on this thing. And hopefully that'll all work. Things I did. I don't think you saw these snazzy fenders I put on. I got these at the Minibike swap meet. I think for like $2 or something. Love the flame paint job. Got a wicked rusty one on the back. Maybe I did show that the last time. I put this handle thing on there. I don't know, it might be a pant leg catcher too, but I always like to have a handle on the back of the bike to move it around, get it out of the mud and that kind of thing. Makes it go easy. I put them on all my bikes. There you can see how rusty that fender is. Has some kind of insignia on it I don't recognize. But they do look like they were for 10-inch wheels. However, it didn't come all the way down, so I made this bracket and I put this rubber piece in here to deflect the mud and stuff like that. We just lost our light. And what else did I do? Let me see. I put a throttle on it, and yes, it's working, but not really that great. You can kind of see it moving down there. The spring just kind of gets hung up every now and then like it is right now. Actually, no, it's working right now, but I'm going to make a Z-bend tool because my Z-bends are not very good, and I'm going to make a video on that. Some guy made them just out of some pliers, and it looks like it works pretty good, so I'm going to make some. And that's, I think, about it for now. I might have done some other things, but I can't really remember what they were. This thing's almost ready to go. Alright, we got the jack shaft mounted with 3 pretty big 5/16 bolts and nuts. That should be secure. Yeah, the chain lines up pretty good. Took a link out of it, so it's about the right length. Fits in the sprocket pretty tight. You have to pound it in, but it's okay. It'll be great. It has a keyway for the top and for the keyway in the jack shaft. So I just got to kind of determine where everything is and cut off the excess. And I think we're going to put the engine back on. I took it off so that I could drill the holes for the jack shaft and stuff. Okay, we had to give things a little more play. We had to pull the jack shaft out of there and give those holes a little this way and that way to get it straight with this arm here, and that looks pretty straight, and the chain looks about right. And now we got the front chain on here, and yes, that's how far the thing's going to stick out. I guess that's not too bad. You know, we're going to cut that excess off there. I'm still lining things up here, but it looks like we're almost right. The engine bolt holes too, I had to like round out and slot a little bit so that they'd move back and forth. So pretty much, you know, as far as tightness goes, so the holes are not there. You're going to have to get the engine lined up right and tighten it down good. And hopefully things will stay aligned, but it's looking pretty good. Okay, we're trying to make a somewhat presentable chain guard out of this old Toro snowblower chain guard, or belt guard, I think it was. And I cut out I used a compass and made a circle, or semicircle, and we're cutting it out with this old saber saw with a metal blade. And it's kind of slow work, but we'll get there. Actually, it didn't take much time at all. It was just the clamping and reclamping to this so that you wouldn't cut into the table. You just had to move it every little bit. So I tried the some M1s metal snips, but the stuff was too tough for it. It's really kind of tough. Boy, this thing's going to be ugly as all hell, huh? Kind of like that. So we're going to knock the shaft in a little bit. Ugly, but save your leg from getting torn off. And there's plenty of foot peg left, so that worked out actually pretty good. We'll have to make some brackets, probably to these threaded holes here, and maybe we'll do one to the jack shaft and one to the bottom of the jack shaft. It's very light, but you don't want it rattling around, and you also, you know, if you have to take it off to do a repair, you don't want it to be a nightmare to take off. So I'll work on that. I kind of like this hole here so you can oil the chain or whatever, but maybe I'll put a plate on it that you can remove to oil the chain, whatever. I've done some other things too that I didn't video. I added this tank in here that I just happen to have. It's funny that it kind of lines right up almost with the frame. It's going to be hard to get gas in it, but it's until I get this tank, you know, a cap and everything going on that, it should work. I routed the gas line through the engine like it usually is into a carb that I'm not quite sure I'm going to use on this yet. What else did I do? Oh yeah, I made I had this momentary switch for a kill switch. They was just in my electronics parts, no idea where it came from. This is a rubber mount for a shock absorber from, I think, from my Toyota or something. I just jammed the thing in there. It doesn't sit in there all that right, but it's not going anyplace, and drilled a hole in the rubber and just zip tied it on, and it works just fine. Okay, I'm using scraps of what was left from the aluminum. Got a bolt here. Going to put another one here when we find out where it is. And this we're going to use to flap over on top of this. We figure out where it goes. Maybe we'll have enough to fill that hole. I don't know. Otherwise, well, let's just see what happens. I'll put the clutch back on, see if we can line this up, draw a line here, and bend it at a 90 degree. That's what we got. Let's see how it does. Yeah, I got it all drilled and bent and realized I bent it the wrong freaking way. So I don't know if it's going to take a bend. It might just crack. But shit. Okay. The aluminum took the rebend. I was kind of surprised that it did, but it did. The paint all falls off. But looks like, you know, if I drilled right there, bolt, and right there, would be in pretty good shape. And then we'll just have to make the other brackets. That's what we got right now. I had to use a small screw up front because we didn't have the real estate for either piece. And of course with vibration that's going to get weak. But it seems okay. If you look down it kind of sticks out at the bottom. And you notice how the shaft's sticking out. And I just kind of don't want to cut that adapter because if you do that prematurely, you usually regret it later on. It's nice to have the option of it being out. So I may make one bracket down below here. And I think that'll hold it about like that. Which for my money looks like no, I'd much rather have it flat. We'll see. But it's coming out pretty good.